Family Guy is back, and in this Halloween special, Rupert comes alive and he's after Brian.
I must kill Brian.
Herbert the pervert is back.
Trick or treat!
Oh yeah, and Bonnie's cheating on Joe. Again. Last season was pretty mid, so the big question now is, does this new episode spark hope for a fresh golden age, or are we in for yet another letdown? Let's dive in and find out. So, the episode opens with the Griffins shopping for Halloween costumes, and Stewie suggests that him and Brian go trick-or-treating as Sunny and Cher.
And either one of us could be Cher. I don't care. I guess I'll be Cher.
We then get this random scene with Chris.
Yeah, everybody has a plan until they see the husky kid in the Halloween store going absolutely nuts with nunchucks.
And for me, this was so oddly specific that it feels like a writer had lived through this exact moment because, honestly, who else has ever seen this in real life? Anyway, back at home, we then cut to Joe showing off this massive pumpkin that he's planning to enter into a big pumpkin competition. He then brings up his arch nemesis, Patrick McCloskey, who always seems to have a much bigger pumpkin than him.
Wait, weren't there weird rumors about him and Bonnie?
No, it's just the pumpkin thing.
This is a running joke that's gonna pop up again later on, and whether or not it's worth the payoff, I'll let you decide. This Halloween special was a Hulu exclusive, meaning that it didn't air on Fox. And when I first saw this poster, I was hyped. I was thinking it was going to be some kind of Treehouse of Horror style event, like The Simpsons Halloween specials, which are always my damn favourite because they're so fun and out there, putting the characters in wild scenarios that they'll never ever be able to get away with in the main series. But then I watched this and half the episode was all about Joe's bloody pumpkin. I was like, really? This is the big Hulu event that they've been hyping up with this cool ass poster? But I'm getting a bit too ahead of myself here, and I'll get back to that pumpkin mess later on. So for now, let's focus on Stewie's subplot. So Stewie and Brian are in their costumes, but they get into a fight because Brian can't nail their dance choreo and storms out. And honestly, I don't blame him. They weren't even doing the whole Cher flicking her hair bit and going, "Ooh!" Like, come on, that's Cher. And honestly, there weren't too many moments that made me laugh out loud, except maybe for this one scene where Brian asked Stewie where he got the mustache, before then cutting to Tom Tucker in a bathroom where his mustache was surgically removed.
No!
Now that was pretty funny. With Brian out of the picture, Stewie now wants to bring his teddy bear Rupert to life so he can go trick-or-treating as Sunny instead. And I'm going to pause it right here because I've heard you all loud and clear in the comments. You want to see Rupert in this room, so I'm planning on completely redesigning this background with tons of references to Family Guy and other cartoons. So do let me know what other items or references you'd like to see in the background right here. Let me know in the comments. Continuing on though, and Stewie goes full on Frankenstein in trying to bring Rupert to life, but he fails.
It's not alive! It's not alive!
Or does he? Because later on that night, Rupert springs to life.
Dear Stewie, you've given me life, and some would say I'm indebted to you.
And it's here where Rupert vows to kill Brian after overhearing Stewie's wish that he was dead.
I hate him. Seriously, I wish he were dead. I mean it. No takesies backsies.
This is the voice of English actor Derek Jacobi, and I thought he was a really great choice. Being a classic and iconic Shakespearean actor with such a theatrical voice really went with how I imagine Rupert to sound, or at least how Stewie pictures him sounding.
Hello, Brian. Enjoy your last call.
I thought it was a nice touch giving a talking British baby a talking British best friend. It just worked. So Rupert gets to work on trying to kill Brian, but he keeps missing his chance. And while out trick-or-treating, Stewie bumps into Rupert and is ecstatic to find out that he is alive. But that happiness quickly turns to dread when Stewie realizes that Rupert only has one goal: to kill Brian.
Anyway, you don't have to kill him.
But you said no takesies backsies.
Side note, I love that Meg takes Stewie trick-or-treating. It's kind of cute, and I do appreciate how the show has slowly built their sibling bond over time. But seriously, it would be really fun to see these two interact more. I mean, Chris has gone back in time with Stewie, so why not Meg? Oh yeah, and also Herbert makes an appearance here.
Trick or treat!
About 10 months ago, I released a video entitled How Family Guy's Most Controversial Character Disappeared, and I ended the video by saying that while I do see him popping up every now and then, I do think that his big spotlight days are over. So it will be interesting to see if he does reappear again in this season. Anyway, Rupert tracks Brian down at a cemetery where there's a horror film festival playing, and just when you thought a cemetery was a really weird spot for a movie marathon, a girl then shows up to put flowers on her dad's grave, and douchebag Brian won't let her do it, which is exactly when Rupert swoops in to complete his mission.
Oh, this is the spot, all right. The spot to die.
And this part right here where Stu arrives to find them got the biggest laugh out of me for this entire episode.
Oh, God, I'm too late!
You're not too late!
But by the time I start helping, don't you think it'll be too late?
Stewie realises that the only way to stop Rupert from trying to kill Brian is to kill Rupert himself, so he drowns him in a toilet.
If I could turn back time!
After that, Stewie and Brian make up, and by the end of the episode, Lois washes Rupert and all is right with the world again.
What on earth do they talk about?
Now, I found this subplot to be fine because it did have a funny few moments here and there, and the idea of Rupert coming alive and vowing to kill Brian is definitely interesting, but aside from those two jokes I mentioned, the rest all just kind of fell flat for me. I think you could have had a lot more fun with this idea. They could have played more on the whole Frankenstein and Chucky references and, you know, go a bit more balls to the wall and have fun with this killer psycho teddy bear. It just felt a bit too safe to me. I mean, you only have to look at Treehouse of Horror 3 with the Krusty the Clown doll trying to kill Homer, which is still hilarious and still holds up to this day. But that being said, I enjoyed it a whole lot more than the whole Joe Pumpkin subplot. So let's get back into that. So the guys are sick and tired of hearing Joe go on and on and on and on about his bloody pumpkin, so they steal it and try to hide it, only for Peter to accidentally drop it. And when Joe finds out, he's ready to end it all until Peter promises to fix the mess. Realizing that he weighs as much as the smashed pumpkin, Peter offers to climb inside of it so Joe can still enter the contest.
Plus, I want to beat McCloskey for you. I heard about him and Bonnie.
I don't know what people are hearing. It's just pumpkin stuff with us.
So Peter, now inside of the pumpkin, gets transported to the contest, and it's here where we meet Patrick.
Let me get a closer look at your pumpkin. Could barely see it from over there.
Now, you might recognize this voice as it is the actor Glenn Powell, who starred in Top Gun Maverick and recently Twisters. And I've got to say, he is a really good, solid voice actor, but honestly, his character isn't funny in the slightest. And neither's the next joke, in that he's sleeping with Bonnie.
It's just pumpkin stuff, Joe.
Oh, good. See, fellas, pumpkin stuff.
Now, you all know how I feel about these endless cheating jokes with Bonnie. It's way overdone, and at this point, it's pretty much her only defining trait. Well, that and I guess hating her husband, but again, they merge together. Joe wins the contest, but as a result, the pumpkin with Peter inside of it gets transported to another contest, and Peter can't handle it anymore and pops out, only to reveal that all the other pumpkins also have fat guys inside of them.
We all have to go to the bathroom more than the pail in here.
Even Patrick admits that he's been cheating for years.
No real pumpkin is ever over 20 pounds.
But yours always are.
My fat son sits in mine every year.
This subplot wraps up with Patrick driving off and Joe coming to this realization.
I gotta put some thought to this, but I think I may be in love with that guy.
So, going back to what I said earlier, I kind of expected far more from this special. It wasn't awful, but it did feel very underwhelming. The Treehouse of Horror specials work so much because The Simpsons is a pretty grounded show, and the Halloween specials allow them to break canon and go supernatural with their storylines, basically taking the characters where you couldn't normally go. Whereas with Family Guy, it's already batshit crazy where everything can and does happen. Characters die only to return a scene later, and Quahog is already full of supernatural creatures. Hell, Jason Voorhees is pretty much a recurring character by this point. I don't know, they just kind of made this episode sound like it was going to be a big deal by advertising it as a Hulu exclusive Halloween event, and yeah, it just turned out to be a regular middle-of-the-road episode. Family Guy has done way better Halloween episodes in the past, and this one really was nothing special, especially seeing as it was called a Halloween special. Not special in the slightest. Family Guy is also teasing an upcoming Christmas special, but if this episode is any indication, I'm not feeling too excited about it. It really wasn't bad by any means because there were some decent moments, but honestly, I watched most of it with a stony stone face. So overall, for this episode, I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5.